Okay, after sound issues that have somehow finally been sorted out, now we started on a video I didn't want to have to fucking make about wrecker shit as far as I can see that has so many concerning layers of fucking toxicity to it that it is just beyond me. The way I wanted to handle this was I wanted to just have a respectful conversation amongst comrades and then come to a conclusion on the matter, as due diligence would fucking persist. But instead, due diligence hasn't persisted. Instead, one has decided to double, triple, quadruple down on the same shit while claiming to have made a mistake. If you've made a mistake, why the fuck are you doubling down? Why the fuck are you still doubling down on the same shit that got you here in the first place?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's not like you and I don't know Dark Sinovia at all. It's not like this is some random stranger off the street. So why on earth you wouldn't come to either of us and then just talk this over is beyond freaking me. It seems like almost like this is completely out of left field. And neither of us knew that this video was even going to drop. Like, I had no idea this video was going to drop. I literally just got home from work and I was like, going through my stream. I'm like, I think I saw that video, but I didn't click on it until I went to sleep. And then it like dropped the next day.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, what the fuck is going on? It's like, why, why on earth does like does there need to be a video made, especially when a lot of these critiques were like easy to debunk if there was just a conversation?
Yeah.
It's
And
all it
also,
required.
yeah, there really wasn't any reason to have like a video about this. And then like what do you make, like 3 or 4 different videos about it afterwards?
Yeah, it's
Well,
very concerning, like the depths that this has gone to.
yeah,
And the refusal to remove them because I own to my mistakes. I bet if they said the N word on a video, they would remove it because of the harm it can cause. Why would you then not do the same when you slandered the shit out of me? Even just at least delete the slanderer's video. You want people to maintain that you're someone that makes baseless assertions of people. Fine, I'd rather you deleted that one too rather than having something on your channel that is monumentally larger in subscriber base than mine slandering me as some sort of fucking like, oh, you don't respect Pan-Africanism because you think Marcus Garvey was a fascist. I'm literally just commenting on shit that I've heard from black comrades and from Marcus Garvey himself. Or this, I don't think Mao degenerated, even though I've mentioned it in like several videos and have talked about it multiple times in group calls that he has been in.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so much easily that can be debunked in the video. Like I literally was thinking about making just like a giant comment going over like all the dumb shit in the video. Um, but my dog, I had to rush into the emergency room, and thankfully he's at least stable now. But we were dealing with a real scare there, and then all this dumb bullshit comes out. Uh, yeah, like he said, like so much slanderous shit and really like kind of slurs. Honestly, like I think at one point he said that you're a gender warrior, and you never talked about, quote, the SJWs, like using like really right wing kind of like adjacent
There
language.
is no such
There's,
thing as SJWs. I don't know how hard it is for some Marxists to understand that. Um, and are we not people that fight for social, like a fight against social injustice? Like,
Yeah.
it's a silly term. It means nothing. The people that get called SJWs are people who are like terminally online people who shout and scream, which are not people fighting against injustice. And then like it then also gets used as a slur against trans people. Every time a trans person has something adjective to say, we get compared to SJWs. I haven't made videos against SJWs because that shit is bullshit, right wing shit. You know, we're not
Yeah.
supposed to be slamming people for being SJWs. I'm sorry, but if fucking Summit requires an output of social agitation, you have to be socially agitative. If that makes me some SJW, well then fuck you. You know, think of me what you want to think of me. I don't think that's how that shit works.
Yeah, but you're trans and you talk about trans issues and care about trans issues, so therefore you're an SJW.
Professional SJW. It's oh, and don't use being trans as a weapon. What kind of fucking super weapon is being trans? We're currently facing genocidal shit right now, and we're supposed to have this super weapon? Like, what?
Well, I
Fake
mean, it's kind of
shit.
like the whole, the Jews control the world and all the banks, but at the same time, they're this degenerate race of like, subhumans and all this shit. Like that, you can see like the similarities between anti-Semitism and transphobia here, and how they kind of like overlap.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, the whole video was a dumpster fire from beginning to end. Like for example, uh, he cited the Nation of Islam in a positive light in 2023. Not even like the 1920s Nation of Islam, but the 2023 Nation of Islam.
The Nation of Islam was
And
fucked like by the time of the 40s and has like been tumbling down. No, we can't take that from the black community. That's for the black community to sort out. I'm not going to solve the problems of the Nation of Islam, but like we do need to criticize it for the factor that there are so many white people that think supporting the nations of Islam is a great idea, and usually it's because of some like bad political hombre shit going on. Either they're very confused as to what the Nation of Islam are, or as our good friend Caleb has shown, for people that want to hide their anti-Semitism behind people who are from an oppressed position, and so like it's just like pick your battles. Like, Malcolm X tried to change the Nation of Islam, and look what happened to him. Maybe you might want to learn from the best.
also learn from like its history too. I mean, like 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 we got so much history from it being funded from the Japanese Empire in the 40s to getting working with the CIA to straight up thinking that Jews and aliens are secretly running the world. And now they're like apparently like they're working with Scientology to push that on the black community as well. Another oppressive, exploitative cult that um, engages in um, uh, uh, really abusive tactics.
Yeah, but you see, Marcus Garvey also liked Imperial Japan, so it's all in line. Everything fits. They're all good dudes. Don't worry about it. Don't look up Ninjang
Yeah,
or Nanking.
for Unit 7 something something, or any country they occupied ever.
It's just like shit. Yeah, not degenerated in any possible resistance or revolutionary fervor, it could have vanished. I mean, like, what's it? Like, just to go on what people go on in the comments, it's like, this shit kind of, it came out of nowhere. It's like, and then we have, like, the last, like, sorry, second to last video, because more and more and more. The second to last video, it fucking, it it showed some very weird conclusions being drawn. Like this whole like oh, I've become weak. I used to be strong, and then talking about a time when they were reactionary. I've been in MRN for like 2 years now, if I remember rightly. When I came into MRN, Jordan was kind of like held some pretty reactionary beliefs. I mean, there was still a China stand and shit like that. And they developed as a Marxist. They pushed them back on a lot of stuff. And he's developed. Being a cuck isn't even a bad thing. Being a cuck is kinky as shit. Like, you know, own that shit if you are one. You know, fucking. I'm a submissive bitch and a half. But it's the way it's being used. They're using cuck in the way the right wing used cuck, which is like, oh, you pussy hole.
Yeah.
It's like being. No, being a cuck just means spank me harder, mommy. But the what's it? Fucking whole framework of it is so toxic masculine. It's this idea, I used to be strong, I used to be the troll, I used to tell people to go kill themselves. I'm sorry, if you think it's good to tell people, even bad people, to go kill themselves, you're a piece of shit. It, like,
Yeah,
go
and this
on.
kind of relates a little bit too to like some of the comments that like Jordan would say sometimes, like in certain live streams. I remember one time, I forget what we were even commenting on. It was like something about like, um, like there's something about like cancel culture or something, and I was basically saying, listen, we need to censor the Nazis and not have them censor us or something like that. And then Jordan was like, no, 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 we need to kill the Nazis and everything else. And I'm just like, like, why does everything always have to go back to like killing all the time? And this whole like, you know, like I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. It's
Online leftists that
like
have
it's
never
just this,
holded a gun and wanting to kill people, fucking.
yeah.
It's this
I don't know.
it's this machoism, machismo, which
Yeah,
is like, I hate to say it, this Nazi shit. Like, I
yeah,
did a stream on Umberto Eco's fucking fascism. It's a sixth or seventh plank of fascism, and like, it's like this fetishization of weaponry, murder, and domination. You know, a hatred for women, shit like this. It plays into all that stuff. It questions to me like whether there's still latent elements from that Ewoks era that is being left, or whether someone keeps pushing it onto them that they were great in that era, and so they're not moving on from their bad positions because they're reflecting back into themselves. Being an aggressive troll on the internet is not being a good Marxist.
yeah,
Edgy
yeah. That
humor
whole,
is stupid.
it literally makes you an edge lord, which is a reactionary piece of shit.
We don't have to mimic our fucking oppressors to fucking make due criticism of them.
Yeah,
Actually, if anything, it would be defeating the whole situation of trying to subvert. You subvert by not imitating, by being above, taking the higher ground. And yet I'm here having to make this shitty video because I can't just have a dialogue with someone who's supposed to be a comrade and a friend.
and yet he keeps making these bizarre. That's the only word I can think of. These bizarre videos where he has the camera like really close to his face, and it's like the room is completely dark, and he might have the AC on or not. And he's just like saying like, "Oh, I haven't slept in a day," and
It's like,
let
bro,
me tell you about
sleep.
this time we had Ewoks unhinged on, and just like reminiscing about the good old days.
You know,
back
back
when
in
I
my
used to be
day,
a
we didn't
reaction.
have any of these transies coming in and being gender warriors and fighting against us when we're trying to destroy the SJWs.
Honestly, it feels almost like if you were pivoting to the right, you would make these kinds of videos to go like a Kansas Owen, if you will, kind of turn or something like that. I left the left. Because honestly, that's the only thing I could think of from all this.
It's like the toxic masculinity just progressively increases. I point out that like, yo, maybe like be respectful of like me as a person and actually like open a dialogue of critique, and then I get blasted as being above critique, and it's like, no, I feel that like the healthiest way for anyone to be criticized is in a dialogue. Like, and if you're not gonna have a dialogue with me, well, fuck you then. And then like they make a video calling me a narcissist and everything and displaying all this toxic masculinity, and then they've just been doubling down on it. I had some yobbo man yelling at me, which triggers some very interesting trauma responses from my fucking history. And then the response that comes after is they flaunt the power they have of their own channel to maintain those videos because I'm not hiding from my mistakes. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I am a trans content creator. I don't need your 1.95 thousand subscribers having some form of shit against me to be thrown against me. They only have to see the first two videos and they could just ignore the rest. They might ignore the rest. That's the internet. Welcome to it. And
Yeah.
so if you put up something that's toxic, you could put up a video confirming what you did, which means your mistake is still there, but you could delete the actual thing that is toxic and causes problems for people.
This reminds me of that one guy who used to be like I mean, well, supposedly he used to be a non-reactionary. I mean, no, he used to be a reactionary chud, racist, fucking homophobe, like piece of shit. And he had all these videos up, and they got like thousands, like I think they got millions of views actually. And then eventually he went on Vash's stream one day, and then he said, "Okay, I'm no longer a chud. I'm a liberal now." But he kept the videos up, and he kept monetizing them. And every time, and when he got criticism for it, he said, "quote I need those videos up to get money from them being monetized." No, he needed the views. He said that they weren't monetized, like he wasn't getting views. But he said, like, if he got rid of them, he'd have to start his channel over. Well, then start your
Mm.
fucking channel over. Give me 1 second. I gotta go pee real quick.
Yeah, it is funny when you punch up, not down. But it all depends on how you punch up because, like, edgy humor can play into trying to punch up in ways that aren't exactly punching up. Like, a lot of people like to represent being trans as some, like, petty bourgeois thing. Even though I'm the poorest motherfucker, like, in this situation going on right now. And I'm fucking so it's just like there is like so many caveats to those kind of things.
Yeah, even though trans people are disproportionately homeless and people of color in at least, well, in the United States, but I guess anywhere really. But yeah, it's so whack, honestly. Like like I just don't get like what this whole fetishization of I need to own up to my mistakes. It's like you're not really owning up to it if you're keeping the videos up.
Yeah,
Like pencils have erasers for a reason.
yeah, like you don't hand the test in with all the stuff crossed out so they can look at the stuff you've crossed out. You fucking erase it. I've already seen
Yeah,
your mistakes. Everyone else has pretty much already seen your mistakes. Just fucking delete the videos. Delete the videos and call me, and we could have settled this easily. Now I've had to get to a point where I've had to do this. It's and I'm not fucking around trying to settle this now. You can fuck off. You're gonna have to lap up the fucking floor apologizing before I'm gonna go back now because I'm done. I should not be having to make some shitty fucking video about this shitty fucking internet drama because you need me to wipe your ass when you've made mistakes. Oh, gonna be big man, not gonna be a cuck anymore, but you're gonna act a baby instead. It's all bullshit, toxic masculine nonsense. Being softer and being more careful is a progression. That shows that you are being smarter about your position as a communist, that you are analyzing the world around you in a more detailed fashion. It is not somehow a step back. You haven't become Cuxanovia by being more careful. It's going the correct way forward. And you're still not careful enough. If you were careful enough, you wouldn't have made these fucking videos. You wouldn't go on your fucking community tab and accuse furries of being pedophiles after I had the argument with you in fucking the group chat that they're not, and you refused to respond to it anyway when I pointed out the fact that it is a fucking subculture of all ages, and pedos infect those cultures, just like pedos infect childhood fucking culture stuff, like fucking kids, shows and fucking games and culture and other stuff like that, online spaces. Are we gonna say that kids should have no entertainment because pedophiles invade it? No,
Did,
you fucking
did,
moron.
did he actually say that? Because I
He
swear to
he
God,
said
I,
furries
I
are
remember.
pedophiles.
I remember specifically, I think I was on the stream as well with him, where something about furries came up, and I specifically mentioned saying, like, I was talking something about furries, and then I added a note to it as well. It was like I added like an addendum to it, and I was like, and not all furries are pedophiles. Like, I mean, not all furries are, yeah, uh, pedophiles or whatever freaks that they think they are. They're just average, people.
It's like
But
shit.
fucking
It's like such a dynamic community. Like there is an adult side to furries. I know furries that are like it, and they very much about people being over the age of 18 and are quite serious about this shit, like any typical person is. But like pedophiles exist within these cultures because it's in all ages for the most part. But in the
yeah,
18 zones, ain't anyone around that's more kinky than a furry.
yeah,
But it's stupid. It's just like shit. Like, and it's also like, do these people even understand the difference between a furry and otherkin? Because I'm someone who'd be considered otherkin, but I'm not a fucking I'm not a fucking furry. Um,
yeah,
Furries are people that like to dress like anthropomorphic animals, specifically anthropomorphic. They're not just like animals. They want anthropomorphicness. It's like a
yeah,
fetishization of a mix of humanity and animals, which cool shit. It's pretty cool stuff. Otherkin is
yeah,
like where you are like you share a spirit with an animal, like you're fucking entwined with animalia in a certain way. None of them have
yeah.
anything to do with either fucking animals or any weird creepy shit with fucking the younglings, Anakin. Um, it's just a fucking they're just subcultures, and in the case of fucking otherkin, it's like all bearing spiritual culture that goes way back. Any of this slanderous nonsense is just a show of reactionary play. There's like, oh, I need to be a troll. Being a troll in this situation is putting people in danger. This is the same shit people are doing to trans people right now. Whether they believe it or not, they call us all this, that, and the other, including what you called furries, Jordan. So it's like bollocks.
And also, I'd like to point out too that the reason why Nazism was able to get so mainstreamed in the the aughts of the 2000s, how they were able to spread their Nazi message was through humor. Specifically, they very specifically even admitted that they do humor in order to mask up their racism, their anti-Semitism, like because it's like it's a way of like what's It's a way of like de-arming a situation. You know how like if somebody says something that's like super problematic at work, and everybody's just like super quiet, and everybody's just like, I don't know what else to say, and then the guy says, "But I was only joking. I was only joking."
Just a
And then
joke.
there's like this awkward, like he does like an awkward laugh, and then I guess everybody's just like, okay, I guess he was just joking. Mm. That's
Yeah.
how that feels right now.
Especially when combined with this fetishization of the old Dark Zenobia, whom was the co-host of a channel that was Nazball. Like, he might not have himself been a Nazball, but the channel he was on was a Nazball. It wasn't revolutionizing people. It was creating revisionists. Uh, Spreading revisionist ideas. When you got into MRN, you were still spreading revisionist ideas because you thought China was an imperialist. Like, there was development. It had to happen. And then you got more straight edged about it. Jordan, if you want to get anywhere in life, stop fetishizing the past and actually move forward with where you've been going. Because you've been taking a path forward. But a point I want to ask is whom the fuck is gaslighting you? Because the way that you're acting and responding, it sounds like someone is beating you over the head. You said someone blasted you for having for having too much for lacking too much self-esteem, not having enough self-esteem. You should not be attacked for that. Like, welcome to the world of anxiety. You should be given compassion and like respect for struggling with your esteem, because it's the only way you develop any self-esteem is by being encouraged, not being blasted. And so,
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why the fuck is this person blasting you into calling yourself a cunt rather than a cuck? Same thing. Well, they're not, but fuck you. But the calling yourself a cuck, calling yourself all these names under the sun, fetishizing a past version of yourself that is less principled and less developed as a Marxist. What the fuck is going on? This shit sounds so unhinged. The toxic masculinity that's latent in all this is so unhinged. And it just feels like a massive backstep from all the development of all the fucking, not just Maoist shit that I've taught you, but fucking feminist shit I've taught you, shit around trans issues I've taught you, shit around sensitivity I've taught you. And you've learned yourself. I'm not the only person who's taught you, but it just seems like a real big spit in my face that this is happening at a moment where my name's being dragged through the mud.
Yeah, it feels almost, it's a complete regression. And again, like I said, I'm not saying that Dark Zenobia is doing this or not, but if you wanted to pivot to the right and push right-wing content and say, go on PragerU and say, this is how I left the left, you would do exactly these kinds of things, honestly.
Yeah, it's just so many layers of dodgy.
And also, who the fuck is this convergence? Like, I've had, like, I mean, I've kind of pieced a little bit of it together, but like he hasn't explained shit. It's been all these like very dodgy people online, these YouTube names with these like uh, uh yeah, it's just like I don't know. It's just really weird. Like at first he said like somebody put him up to make the video, and then he basically said, "Oh, nobody put me up to make the video." Which one was it?
Making one's mind up is difficult in this situation. Yeah, it
Yes.
is like so SLR-44 port. I mean, isn't humor the way this new genocide against trans people is being normalized right now? Yep. It's one of the ways. I need to pop to the loo.
I'll read the comments. It's honestly for a minute.
Oh my god. You know, man's talking about fucking not having had sleep for fucking a day or so. It's like, man, maybe you should get some sleep and think things through before you make more videos.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because like every time he's like he's just making the situation worse and worse, just making these videos and not sleeping about it. Like honestly, like, get your head on straight, come back, and then solve this like an actual adult, basically. Like
No,
none of
no.
this like
Oh, sorry, go on.
kid like this like this back and forth drama where he's gonna make like 10 or 20 videos. And it's not like he can't get in touch with you. Like, obviously he can. He's choosing not to. This is a what was it like? Who was that one person who said that? From Thought Slime. What was her name? The one.
Sophia Mars.
She basically said this is a. Yeah, yeah. She said this is a self-selecting tactic that people do with their content.
Yeah, it's centered on them having set their own conditions and not being willing to alter them in any way, shape, or form because they've set the stone, and then I'm having to mediate for that stone. That's why their only option for me is for me to have them on my fucking stream. I don't need to have them on stream. They need to contact me. Well, I'm gonna give them the platform after they've said dodgy shit to then say more dodgy shit and have an argument with me, yell over me again in the yobbo aggressive males way they were doing to me before, mansplain to me. No, I don't want that shit. I don't want to have to deal with that shit. Heck, I might have to deal with it in a direct call, but at least in a direct call, it's just a matter of hanging up, not me having to remove them from a stream and then me having to break down because everyone has just seen me get treated like shit by a man on stream.
Yeah. And this really is this kind of toxic masculine behavior that's going on here.
It's the kind of shit
like,
I'd expect from Yankee Tanky.
Like, honestly. Like, it seems like I don't know. I'm starting to think, was Jordan just pretending this whole time that he wasn't a reactionary?
I don't think so.
And just like,
I don't think they were. I think that they were genuinely developing. That's what makes it really concerning to me.
yeah. Which makes you wonder, like, how did this happen?
Gaslighting. The becheveled and unhinged nature of how these responses are and the self-punching stinks of gaslighting. Stinks of someone who's being gaslighted. I know that because all the gaslighting I've received in this situation has had me going fucking AWOL. But I actually try and pass myself a bit and take a step back before I try and ascertain to this. Heck, I could have gone at this Sunday morning while I was gaslit and fucking feeling like, feeling really derealized and not at it. I could have went and haphazardly made a video and made myself look like a complete fucking ass. I still will look like an ass because I can't help myself but look like an ass, but nevertheless, this shit just reeks of bullshit.
Yeah, and this whole, like, not explaining things, like constantly referencing the convergence in this blog. It's like this don't use words without explaining it to the audience here. Like, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
you say one thing in this video, and then you say a completely different thing in the other one, and don't explain it without any fucking context.
It's,
like this.
I'm supposed to be a member of it, but a lot of the convergence is an enigma to me as well. I'm just, like, at a point where I'm like, I'll stay in touch with, like, good comrades, you know, people like Jason and people like Weisfeld and all that. But otherwise, I'm going my own way to make my own network. Because, you know, I actually want to get some shit done. I want a structured network where we actually have meetings and decisions and we all analyze each other's plans of action. So when we're like, oh, I have an idea for this. Or, oh, do you need any help with this? Do you need someone else to co-present with this? And we can work together as a cohesive unit and not, oh, I'm going to message saying maybe we should have a meeting on the Saturday, and then the only people who ever respond are the people who are always willing to engage, people like fucking Falcone and Lumpen-Maoist and all that, and then no one else in MRN says anything. Not even just to tell me they can't do it so I can reschedule it. Just read and blank. I see the little head pop next to the message and then nothing. And now there's been 2 years of that shit. I gave up trying to structure MRN in any way a while ago because of this. Because I just kept trying and I just kept getting pushed aside. I'm not here to be made a clown of. No, it wouldn't be a be
Yeah,
liberal connected individual. This shit is certainly coming from supposed allies. Um, it's not. It's nothing to do with be liberal. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, it's. He doesn't necessarily have to willingly come forward with names. If these are really are real street cadres, I'd rather they kept their names hidden. Like, but like why the fuck it does them saying something to you mean, oh, I've got to go make a video on my YouTube channel. I got to let the streamers know what's going on with this.
yeah. It makes me wonder, like, are you really that so easily manipulated into making a video um, by just somebody just randomly just telling you, like, gaslighting you into doing it? Like, that's that just doesn't look good on you, honestly. It really looks bad. Like, you can be so easily emotionally manipulated into doing something like this, honestly. And I'm saying this specifically for, like, Jordan's, like, serious mental health. Like, the guy does not look good at the moment, and he looks like he's gonna do and say some stuff that's gonna, like, haunt him for a while, like maybe his whole life, if he doesn't stop, honestly.
Yeah, it's I mean, I hope they're already at a point where they're regretting what they've said, but the fact that they won't remove it doesn't show much regret to me. Uh, it's just like it's seeing where they're gonna double down next that concerns me because I don't think they're gonna take this video well. But they might take our comparisons we've made to like how Nazism progresses as us calling them a Nazi, which is not what we're doing. We're
Yeah.
pointing out how this is reactionary shit, and I wonder if they're even able to listen past that to get any more, or whether they're like seething with rage and they're I'm not going to do another video, and this is going to turn into another video, and it's going to be full of anger
Oh,
and more slurs.
but didn't you watch the video? I meant, did you watch the first 10 minutes? I praised you in those 10 minutes.
What's it?
That means everything else.
A comrade got removed from the Communist Party in the early 50s for doing this exact thing to Stalin. He wanted to make some bullshit critique of like Marxism, Leninism, and and the direction it was going in the Soviet Union. And this guy was someone who was already like despised for being a revisionist and like a fucking one of the Trotskyists. And
Yeah.
he turns around and goes, "Oh, great Stalin," and shit like that at the start, and kicks it all with praise. If you start like not just, I don't mean like a simple little quip where you're just like, I mean no disrespect, I want to say this. That's fine. Like Comrade Lumpen-Maoist does that sometimes. That's just like anxious people behavior a lot of the time, and it's a cordial point of respect. That's fine. But when you start like having to take 10 to 20 minutes to blow smoke up my ass, even 5 minutes to do it, no, 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 no. It should take no more than 30 seconds to make a respectful, like, I don't mean any, like, disrespect, but I just want to bring up this criticism. That's all you have to say. If you start saying compliments, that's toxic. Because you're basically stacking the deck as to if I have a problem, it's like, oh, but I complimented you. Yeah, after making a stacked deck You made a construction, a fabrication for how you delivered out this criticism, and I'm the one being accused of being a narcissist. Like, genuinely. And I don't even think you're a narcissist, Jordan, but literally, like, maybe you should look up the definition of what they are and the type of constructed social fucking patterns of engagement they decipher towards. There are other things and other people that decipher towards those behaviors, but if you're really gonna start this shit, I can be inaccurate for the fun of it as well. And I will use semi-accuracies to be a prick about it if you really want me to be an asshole. Because I actually know the words that I'm flinging around. I don't mean to talk down to you, but you're pissing me off. Like, I don't not like condescending to someone, but you want to throw around words like narcissist, a word that has massive fucking implications. When I fucking... Ugh, I have gone through so much shit with this fucking org. I don't need any more. I don't need you calling me these fucking stupid fucking names. Like, as a comrade told me when they saw that shit, it's like I'm one empathetic motherfucker. Like, whenever they've needed my help, I've helped them, and if I can't, I've been quite apologetic about it, even though it's not my fault. Like, I don't understand how one can throw out such a fucking ridiculous assertion of me. What? Because I don't like the fact that you made a very, very, very unfair manner of critique against me? One that drags my name through the mud, gaslights me, and then expects me to just fold round to it, and then when I don't, you then accuse me of being a gender warrior in an SJW in an aggressive, mansplaining, toxic masculine manner. Please tell me how I'm the worst person ever and you're the great special boy that makes mistakes and everyone must see them in verbatim and you can't just, I don't know, delete them and learn the mistake yourself and teach people when you see other people making these mistakes. Go, I understand this, I've made this mistake before, and explain the situation and how you fucked up and maybe how they could figure it out, but also take some credence that their situation might be different and you don't know it all. That's learning from mistakes. Going, oh no, I fucked up like this. I have a video where I did it. Here's the video where I did it. It's like, that doesn't help. Oh, look, here's the thing you're doing. I'm not going to explain to you how to deal with the problem. Here's just a video of the thing you're doing. It's teaching no one nothing. It's teaching you nothing. It's teaching no one else nothing. Where's the reflection? Where's the development? This shit is developed like a modern day triple fucking A game. Like, shit. When's the update coming? When are we gonna see the patch?
The DLC. Dark Zenobia DLC.
Oh, it's like a Bethesda game. It doesn't get fixed until after the last DLC, so we've got to wait. We've already had one video plus 4 DLC, so there might be some more.
Yeah. I remember when they released Warcraft 3 Reforged, it took them 3 years to get all the systems they had for a 20-plus-year-old game back into the game. 3 fucking years. Like, right now. Fucking crazy. Small indie company. But yeah, no, and it's not like Jordan doesn't even know all this shit. It's not like, oh, this is some stranger, this is some, this is Caleb Maupin replying in YouTube comment sections. No, this is somebody who actually is, like, known you, and I've known him for at least a few years now. And, like, he should know better to do this kind of shit. And when the person you're making the video about tells you specifically in the comments to delete the video, and I tell you to delete the video, and other people tell you to delete the video, maybe that should give you some idea to delete the video.
Yeah, maybe you
might want to remove
it.
Because, I mean, what does this even entail other than just wrecker shit? Honestly. This isn't some fucking, like, struggle session, constructive criticism shit. This is just a bunch of fucking bullshit slandered together.
It's like, fuck, if I was as good as stirring a wok like this, I'd be a fucking 6-star Michelin chef. like shit. Because that's what this shit is. It's wok stirring. It's just like fucking. Rather than actually engaging with me, after multiple times I've said maybe we should have a struggle session. I even said other members of MRN can be there if this seems to be such a justifiable thing to you that other people are going to have a position on it. Like, if you need a crowd, we can have a crowd. It's called the org we're meant to be a part of. So, like, you know, maybe I have a struggle session, but no, it's over. Like, there is no room for that. You know, you all set yourself up for ignorance. You removed yourself from the chats that we were all sharing between each other. You won't answer the fucking thing when I try and ring you to call you myself because I had to take the ante up myself because you turned your fucking phone off or whatever the fuck you did. Um, Maybe blocked internet to Skype because you can probably do that in the phone preferences. Or just uninstalled it. And you know, made yourself like almost impossible for me to get a hold of, other than through your comment section, which you've not responded to a single comment I've posted.
I think so he replied to one of my comments, but he didn't reply specifically to me in the comment. So I see, like, I think I see a comment of Dark Synovia, but he's replying to oh wait, he does reply to me. And this is what he says: I do not want this mistake to be covered up. I would be a hypocrite. We're all hypocrites for not holding myself accountable. What do you mean by that?
You're still not holding yourself accountable. what what does being on my stream make them accountable? It's just them being platformed. It's actually putting more power in their court than it is mine. Other than, oh, I have the power to mute them. Oh wow, muting abilities. I shouldn't have to like baby someone into some sort of like that kind of discussion. It's just like, you know, it just takes a fucking call. 5 to 6 videos in 48 hours, for fuck's sake. You mean in her latest video, Canethius, Red Pagan's name is Nicole and she's femme.
Live chat. Yeah, yeah, I mean, like I don't even see like a reason to even break down all the bullshit in Dark Zenovia's video. I mean, like, what can we even say about it? It's like Marcus Garvey's not a I mean, okay, so what Zenovia says, Marcus Garvey's not a fascist, and
Provides no evidence.
reason he's not because MLK and some of the Black Panthers cite him positively. That doesn't change the fact he's still a fascist.
That doesn't even change the fact that they might think it or not. Like, he still gets quoted by to this day because the guy was one of the first big black nationalists. But like, you know, it's there's quoting him in context. Like, the fact that there's quotes from him that are kind of important to black nationalism doesn't change the fact that he was a fascist, and at the very least, a bourgeois nationalist. We've had better black nationalists since Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was someone who told African Americans to, well, new African people to fuck off back to Africa. Was someone who met with the KKK and respected them as like fellow supremacists. He literally wrote a book called Black Supremacy. Like, no, but this guy's not a fascist, guys, because my black friend likes to read his books. Shit, tokenize. Tokenize all you want.
When the ideal model for Marcus Garvey's government is Francis Duvalier, who killed 30,000 Haitians on a small, partial part of an island. 30,000 people. It's a lot of fucking people.
There's a lot of people.
I think that might qualify as a fascist, and I think himself identifying as a fascist might qualify him as a fascist.
Yeah, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck and not an airplane.
Yeah, I'm just getting like these weird kind of like, and I'm just like this weird kind of like Caleb Maupin kind of like George Lincoln Rockwell kind of shit going on here with some of these reactionaries. Like they're trying to like um, co-opt a certain um, element of black nationalism in order to justify their bigotry, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same way that like a lot of neo-Nazis will use Israel to justify white supremacy.
Yeah.
It's just it's like shit. The thing is, as well, is it's made it harder to talk about because rather than being able to have the person that has the problem with me and just talk it out and I can respond to things because it's a lot easier on me with my autism, I'm having to like really think hard about this and try and navigate through it all. And like, you know, some of the ways I've been perceived just kind of reminds me of the way my old man would perceive me. And I've had it yelled at me too, just to add for extra special sauce to keep it like the nostalgia of home. And it's just like you know, I'm popping jokes because it helps me tolerate this shit, but this shit's been distressing. Like I had the one of the fucking. It's been an awful weekend after an already stressful week. People I care about are going through a lot of shit right now that I'm stressed to fuck about. My health physically is plummeting, which is having a drastic effect on my mental health as well. And then this comes out of nowhere. And it's just like, it's a fuck me Sunday of like absolute bollocks. I'm sick of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And here we got fucking um, at my house. I'm still taking care of a cat that has cancer, a dog whose arm has a lot of pussy red. It's a pussy red, like a really serious mark. Like it looks, it looks, it looks like somebody took like a magnifying glass over his like arm and like burnt part of his arm off.
It could be
Really fucking
infected sunburn, because sunburns can get infected.
yeah.
So if he's been sunburned and then he's gone into the pool and something like that, that can cause an infection. Um,
We think he got cut in like the woods because he was out in like the woods area, and then he got into the pool, and that's what caused the infection.
See, that was my
So that's what we
second
think it is.
option, but I wanted to go with the more wacky one first. Um,
And
yeah,
and to
because
top it all off, we have a murderer walking around, like just stealing cars in the area I live in. So that's just more, wholesome news to deal with. A guy who murdered his girlfriend after she wanted to call the cops after he murdered somebody. So, just that's always great to be dealing with.
Adam's Family theme tune starts playing.
Yeah.
The Adams Family Pennsylvania edition. I
But yeah, no,
know.
this video has no, like, he talks a lot about criticism of it. It's like, where's the fucking criticism that I see in this? All I see is gaslighting And at one point, he calls you a quote stereotypical white woman.
Yeah, a bit of misogyny just to balance the books.
Guys, I'm being the principal's uh, communist here. You bitch. You T word. You SJW.
Yeah, just like throw out all the misogynistic words: bitch, cunt, slag, slut, fucking. Call me a slut and you get nice tidings. Fucking SJW, stereotypical white woman. Oh, call me stupid as well. Nice little fun one for the mansplaining tech tree. Nothing like men not getting what they want out of a situation and then calling women stupid.
Yeah, yeah. You're just too stupid, and um um you're just being hysterical, and women can't make choices apparently. W.E.B. Du Bois is infinitely better than Black Nash than Garvey. Yep, I
Yeah.
can 100% on that one.
Du Bois
And
even made similar mistakes, but they were actually mistakes for Du Bois, not like, so Garvey supported Imperial Japan. It's one of the also big evidence that he was a fascist. Du Bois made the same mistake, but it was actually a mistake for Du Bois, and he walked back on it quite quickly.
and that was because of like an actual serious cultivation effort on the part of Imperial Japan through an organization called what check my notes, Nation of Islam, which Jordan himself cited as a positive thing.
I love like the autism roleplay things. Like, I'm just gotta check my notes. Ah, yes, it's the wankers from the start of the video. We're back full circle. It's like shit, and it's just like fuck. But we're supposed to ignore all these things. You see, apparently you disavowing one Pan-Africanist, even though I wouldn't really use the word Pan-Africanism to describe Garvey, he just seems more like a black nationalist. Pan-Africanism to me was something that emerged in the mid-20th century, but maybe I'm wrong. Well, early to mid-20th century. But what's it? That's not how that works. Like, there are fucking later Pan-Africanists. Heck, there's neo-Pan-Africanists especially that I don't fucking like. I don't really have any position to deviate what is and what isn't Pan-Africanism. Ask someone who's a Pan-Africanist, like, who, like, is actually, like, of the culture, of the struggle, because I can't dictate to you what these things mean. I can only tell you what I know from what I've been told, which I'm happy to do, and direct you to people who can tell you better. Because, like, what I say is nowhere near as important as what a black nationalist and what a Pan-Africanist can tell you. But the point is that there are people that absolutely do receive necessary criticisms regardless of where I'm from. And if, like, Marcus Garvey is going to be and call himself a fascist, I have a right to call him a fascist regardless of where I fucking come from. Like, my critique is not as valuable as the fucking African comrades that have called him out for his fascism, but where the fuck do you think I learned these things from? I didn't come up with these ideas all on my own. Half of the white people here are saying they don't even know who Marcus Garvey is. I didn't learn about Marcus Garvey until I learned from fucking black comrades, because they don't teach you this shit in school. They don't teach you this shit in school. So if you're not engaging with black comrades to learn these things, or just having one black person tell you something and you think now you know the thing because an black person told you, you're both on either side of ignorance. Like, to know a situation and not be ignorant about it. You have to engage with multiple people. You can't just go, do you know what? My black friend said that these are pretty cool. So do you know what? I think this must be pretty cool for black people. That's tokenization. Don't tokenize black
Yeah.
people. They not only have their own voice that you could actually platform and push forward, but if you're actually going to put their ideas forward, ideas, plural, you might want to speak with more than one person so you're not mischaracterizing an entire group based on a limited number of people. And after then, still clarify that this is not a directive for a group. This is just what you've learned from people and how you understand it as a reflection of your own knowledge. You don't just go in and go, oh, wait, you said Marcus Garvey is a fascist. Well, my one black friend happens to say that Marcus Garvey is a real cool dude. It's like, shit. I, I, fuck. I can't compute this. It does not make sense to me.
And it would be nice if we had this person on here in order to discuss, like, maybe we should have, a discussion about Pan-Africanism, about Marcus Garvey, about all these issues, and how it's a very complicated issue. And, Pan-Africanism isn't just this one thing. There's Neo-Pan-Africanism. There's a multitude of things. Like it's not just this like one specific definition, and all Pan-Africans abide by the one true definition of Pan-Africanism. It's like that's not an actual thing. But thank you for being on, Jordan, to discuss these issues. It was great talking with you, Jordan. That's Jordan not here talking about these issues.
To be fair, technically speaking, I wasn't gonna let him here anyway at this point. But your point still stands. If they'd have contacted me, I could have learned from things. I could have, I could have actually developed. Not much really though, because as I've spoken with comrades, there wasn't really anything for me to develop from. All these things just seem like haphazardly made, baseless critiques.
Yeah.
They're just hamstrung to fuck. Everyone was perfectly fine with me saying that point in there, but now you all of a sudden know that actually he wasn't a fascist, even though he has that very famous quote about him saying Mussolini stole his shit. And if he learned from it and developed, show me the development, please, because I don't see it. Show me when Marcus Garvey stopped being a fascist and claimed himself a liberal or a
Yeah. Well, considering he died in 1940, and that was the height year of fascism, I would seriously doubt that.
When his shit got real popular.
Interestingly enough, that's the same year that Trotsky died too. Another fascist.
Symbiosis.
Also, I know this might be just quote nitpicking, but the image that Jordan had for his video criticizing a comrade has the 3 arrows, which is the symbol used by the Iron Front, which was the parliamentary wing of the SPD in Germany.
Yeah, I don't understand why people have tried to adapt and change the 3 arrows into something Marxist or anarchist, or usually anarchist. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah. It's just, and I've seen people make this mistake before, and maybe Jordan just
doesn't know.
Was looking for like a cool image and just didn't know.
No, that one looks like it's been made, like in the style of like the fucking like the Bundes shit and all stuff like that. 'Cause I really doubt
Yeah.
anyone's gone and made like an Iron Front rebels. It's beyond me. Usually, people that are involved in stuff called like the Iron Front, which it sounds like something Hitler come up with, would usually like the Empire.
Yeah.
We're gonna fight against everyone because that will prevent the Nazis that we let out of prison to go from coming to power. Shit.
Yeah. We're gonna fight the Nazis so much that we're gonna sing Deutschland über alles in Parliament with them when they're passing the Enabling Act as this big sign of unity.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Deutschland über alles basically means Deutschland unite. It's a unification song about German nationalism dominating other regions of Germany.
Yeah, and it was the national anthem of Germany at the time. I think it might still be the national anthem, but or at least a certain kind of it. A distorted. It could be like a different version. But,
No, it was that. It
uh,
was that song.
oh snap! That is the song of Germany. Still the anthem. Deutsch, Deutschland. Yes. I cannot speak German for the life of me. But yeah, no. Fucking hell. It just goes together with like everything we were saying. Like this whole idea that like, oh, we're the true communists. That's why we can say slurs about people and call people hysterical white women, which has a historical, sexist connotation to it, and make all these baseless accusations, and then not delete my video despite me literally saying that the video was a mistake, and then I'm gonna make like 3 other videos about the video that I'm trying to say is a mistake.
It's also like if a black person had said I was being a stereotypical white woman, that would make me consider about my whiteness. When a white person is saying I'm being a stereotypical white woman, that makes me consider my femininity as the issue at hand. Because motherfucker, you white too. And if you're saying me getting pissed by being dragged through the mud is stereotypical woman shit, come at me then. Because the other one's saying you're not going to be a coward, and every time I've said call me, you've pussied out from it. So what the fuck's going on? I don't want to play into your fucking weird toxic masculine game. If you don't want to speak to me, just tell me. But stop telling me you're going to come on my stream or making these videos. Just own up to it.
Yeah, yeah. If you wanted to come on the stream, you're doing like a really bad job at it. It's pretty much done at that point. I mean, done
Yeah.
at this point.
Because then, I don't know, maybe a healthy conversation could have occurred on my channel after the fact. I probably wouldn't have. I'd have probably have told you to just delete the videos. If you want to make a video confirming that you made some mistakes, fine. But delete the rest and we just move from it. But no, no, no. We can't come to any sort of salient situation where you're just like, how about we deal with this ethically? Because at the end of the day, you've put me in a situation where I'm now made to look like a massive cunt that thinks they're above criticism because I asked you to directly criticize me rather than making flamboyant, silly, shitty little YouTube videos. They're supposed to be comrades, cadres. My other comrades that I know who run channels, and they have a problem with me, they just fucking tell me. They don't go and go, do you know what, I'm gonna make a video or like an audio to a text to audio transcribed video or something. Where maybe they're not talking, they're using the typey thing that makes the voice go. Fucking. They wouldn't do that. They'd contact me. They'd engage with me. If I'm being an arse enough to the point where maybe a public critique needs to happen, it happens. But it's not your first freaking option.
Yeah, yeah, and And the fact that he's not replying at all seriously, like, oh, I'm not going to take the video down because I need to own up to my mistakes, then that means you're not owning up to it at all, honestly. And that you're just playing like a little game where you're just doing this reactionary bullshit of like drama wrecker shit. And honestly, it's just very like childish, honestly. Like generally, like if you wanted to like solve this, you would have deleted you would have deleted that video, and then you would have deleted the other video. Then you would have issued a formal apology, and then you would have called and then said, okay, I fucked up and gone into why. You wouldn't be doing all this dumb shit, honestly. How is it that I know this, but Jordan apparently doesn't?
Because you haven't been like gaslit into thinking your developments become more sensitive about how you are politically are an issue. Like shit, because that's the thing that's really getting me. Like that video concerned the shit out of me more than any of them because it's like, why the fuck are you considering being more rational an issue?
Yeah.
The rational is so important. Like you can't just be some like empirical nutcase that just throws themselves around like mad, flailing their arms all over the place. Like, you know, that's not gonna be that's not good political candor. You can't just go getting aggressive or fucking flailing like a yobbo. You have to actually take a rational perspective on things. Because if we're to understand the empirical, we have to take the empirical and rationalize it. And then the empirical inflicts on the not rational, but also our rational understanding inflicts on the empirical. It is literally the relationship between how we experience the world and how we understand the world, and how these things flop over and over in that relationship. But primarily, the experience of the world is what indicates the fucking understanding, the rational. But if we don't have both, it's stupid. You cannot just be an empirical fucking person because you wouldn't know all the words you know in whatever fucking language you speak. You wouldn't know how to do maths. You wouldn't know all the stories you know. You wouldn't know all of the music you know if you didn't have a rational understanding of things. No one is lacking of rationale completely because it's impossible, because this is how we learn. We learn through experience and rationalization of that experience. And if you don't rationalize to actually express yourself forward, you instead dive into a million and one different rabbit holes. If you think being a troll and telling people to off themselves is a good idea, I don't want anything to do with you. You set the book for me. You set it straight. I don't want to be around that kind of toxicity. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, it just feels like this. I was gonna say gamer culture kind of like shit that's going on, but that really does feel like it. This is the kind of stuff that like potential school shooters would say. Honestly, like this edgy fucking kind of shit. Um, like honestly, like this immaturity, and that's really what it is. Like the whole anti-rationalism thing and yearning for like the past with like Ewoks Unhinged. Ewoks Unhinged was shit, and you should not look back at with any like you know fucking positivity. Like honestly,
Especially when
you
that
should be looking back at
positivity
it.
is centered on the if, when I was there, it was great.
Yeah,
It's like, bro, well, you hear what you say? Yeah, rightly so. You were
I
saying
was
like
just
it should be looking back on it in like shame, learning from it.
yeah, yeah, just like how everybody looks back at some of the stuff that they said in the past that was problematic. I've done that
I
before.
mean, me and you have
Fucking
like a massive dialogue of having both been manipulated by the right pretending to be socialists in our youth because of the kind of twisted ways that a mixture of yearning for a better life, but then also being brought up in an environment that like encourages edginess and like aggressive emotional outlets led one to being able to be tricked by that shit. And no matter how deep you get, you can still be tricked by it. You can know some of the darkest shit involved with these kind of things and still be under its weird spell because that's the way ideological indoctrination works. And like, we don't flaunt this shit. We'll like explain it at times when it comes up. It's like when I'm on my channel and I see someone doing some shit that I can really expel for what it is, I'll use my knowledge from those experiences to go about it. I don't go and make like, here's a long video explaining all the ideas I ever had as a reactionary, so my mistakes are there for everyone to see. It's like, no, I let my mistakes teach people when I see them making those mistakes, as I was taught when my parents taught me how to deal with mistakes, and like the friends and family that I made along the way taught me how to handle and deal with mistakes, because you learn from those around you in the moment when you're actually engaging with situations, and rationally from having things explained to you and consolidating on your own shit. And the shit you see secondhand.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why I'm so fucking critical of a lot of this bullying culture is that honestly, I was never the bully in school. I was the one getting either bullied or I had no friends and was basically just the one fucking kid sitting in class, not talking, and just fucking either drawing or fucking uh, staring away into the sunlight. But yeah, honestly, I think this is good though. Like if Jordan had these like reactionary views that he wants to expose, like expound upon, then like I don't want to have anything to do with it, honestly.
Yeah, it's a bit of
Like if he
a violent wake up. Because there's like a difference between like, having to like point out sometimes that they're saying some shit that's kind of reactionary and then pushing back on themselves, which is like nice to see. Compared to this, where it's like, okay, there's like a collection of problems that have really come to a head. Because like the whole rift between us, like what rift? What has it been me pointing out when you say and do some shit that's kind of sus? Is that the rift? Because I don't think that's a rift. If someone says something that's kind of like oofy doofy, it's got to be pointed out. Like, especially like if you're saying shit on stream that's kind of oof. If you're bigging yourself up about your whole impact on fucking Ewoks Unhinged, how am I not to know that you're also like unable to just accept that you've been pointed out to be wrong and not see it as like a hit against you that you've been shown up? Like, because I'm having to presume you've given me no chance to dialogue with you on anything. This is why, Jordan, if you make it this far in the video, directly communicating is really important when handling critique, because if you don't understand the full scope of the situation, you might say something stupid. Like, I'm gonna say that you think that I believe bananas have wings. It's a stupid example, but fuck it. What does it mean? I look like an ass, and I've made you look like you've got some really weird beliefs that you might want to get sorted out. But no one's won. No one's fucking progressing. You're not learning from it. I'm not learning from it. You could learn from some of the stuff said in this, but it's a limited capacity for learning, and you could very much be either speed demoning your way through this video and not picking up everything that I'm trying to tell you, or you could just turn this video off already by now. And you'll probably complain it's like, oh, it's too long, my videos are really short. Well, do you know what? Like, You've packed me with a load of shit that I've had to unpack, and I have to sit here boggled out of my mind, having to say something about this because I you're supposed to be someone who's a close comrade and you have a channel that's bigger than mine and you've just gone and turned full turkey on me. What am I supposed to do? So I'm just settling the score straight here, and then as this stream's over, I'm done with this shit. I'm done with you. I'm done with being a member of MRN. I'll still engage with Weisfeld. I'll still engage with Jason and all that. But like, I'm doing my own thing because this shit is just a it's an already sunken ship. I am fucking far from maintaining this bullshit charade. Had so much impact on my mental health the last like 2 or so years that I've been dealing with MRN, and I'm not tolerating it anymore. I'm not dealing with this gaslighting anymore. I'm not dealing with this fucking haphazardous, terminally online bullshit that's stressing me the fuck out and making me have to with my half fucking like my half a brain cell running at 1,000,000 miles an hour, having to try and figure out why the fuck, what the fuck, and how the fuck I navigate any of this situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I look at this moment as like MRN was dead for a while, but this is more or less the proverbial final nail in the coffin. Like they're just hammering the nail in. They want to get this fucking coffin in the ground as quick as possible. And honestly, the best thing we can do at this point is use MRN as a learning experience for where the failures went with this org and move on and create a new one. Because honestly, like, this whole wallowing in the past for like Ewoks Unhinged and shit like this, that's not gonna get you fucking anywhere. Well, I mean, it's gonna get you reaction, but you know what I mean.
I said it wasn't for society. You wouldn't know what spirituality is, much less be able to pursue it. They seem to get it. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's like shit. Like stop hauling yourself up in this fucking imaginary world of things always being so great. You were always so great. Jordan, know this. One of the most common forms of gaslighting is for someone to constantly tell you about how great you've always been and how great you are and how immeasurably amazing you are. If someone is blowing that kind of smoke up your ass, you might want to consider that they might be pulling your leg and trying to get you to entice with something, have you in their little pocket. Doesn't matter if you think they're your comrade or your friend, if they are fucking having to plant smoke up your ass to get you to do anything, say anything, or think these things about your more reactionary time in the past, you might want to consider that you are being taken for an absolute fucking fool.
Yeah, it's like oh, I'm gonna cite Marx and Engels, and you're gonna be like, okay, what time period are you gonna cite them from? When they were Hegelians.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to 1839, baby, because we gotta find something that justifies our bullshit argument. I find it sus that he kept saying that he has been a cuck for the past 2 years, when I've always thought he has been pretty thoughtful and respectful up till this crap. Yeah, like he made major developments in being a more respectful person. I fucking, in the last, like, especially in like the last year, I've not had to criticize very much shit in regards to like them being like abrasive in a reactionary way, other than the shit where he's trying to call furries pedophiles. Otherwise, it's been like either accidental slip ups when he's said something he doesn't know is bad, which like fine. I mean, he's a bloke in a patriarchal world. It happens. But otherwise, he developed quite well, and as you said, he'd been a very thoughtful and very fucking like respectful comrade. And then, so all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just drops back into how he was before. It's one of the things that makes us think of gaslighting. That drop back into old behaviors and habits is an encouraged position that someone who has some long-term, like fucking, like grip and manufacture on someone, ends up actuating towards, that they push upon. If they start feeling like they need to crack their whip, intensify their grip, they'll drop their game. They'll drop their usual type of phrasing. They'll try and encourage and bring out an older form of someone whom is much easier to pull the reins on. Because it stinks of it to me. I'm sorry, I can't take it set down now. I've been gaslighted myself enough in this situation, and what he's going through, which I fucking hope he can get past because it seems pretty awful, is also involving gaslighting.
Yeah, yeah, and that's pretty much what I thought too when I saw this. Like, because he's made contradictory statements. He says he hasn't slept for like a day when he posts like these weird like videos. He's being very cryptic. He's then like making a video basically talking about Ewoks Unhinged, and then like calling himself like a cuck, like, using very fash language.
I made a mistake, Lord Vader. It's like shit. No, they should go for this style. If they're going for the creepy look, this would fit better.
Yeah.
The bus
like
tumbled off the bridge and crashed into the Twin Towers. This is the true story of September 11th, 2001.
I used the Force to fly the planes in. They weren't actually flying.
To be fair, the buildings were asking for it. Cheeky little fuckers thinking they can be tall.
And now, I always remember the comment Donald Trump said on that day, where he said when the towers fell, and he basically commented like, actually, now that the towers fell, my building is actually the tallest building in New York City. Just a fun fact to point out on this day.
The guy is so... It might also be a part of his like strategy he said since the mid-80s. Basically, he was having a lot of crises in the mid-80s, and one of his advisors advised him to use like humor as a way to like cloud himself. Yeah. And ever since, he's just been dropping Norm Macdonald quotes. If Norm Macdonald had a big tower, that is exactly what Norm Macdonald would have said on 9/11.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like on the day it happened, just like, you know what, guys? I'm pretty sure my tower's the biggest now. George rubs hands together. You wait till the 20th anniversary, Donnie.
Oh, God.
George let us down on the 20th anniversary. I was really looking for 9/11 too.
The Electric Boogaloo. Honestly, this is one of the reasons why I can't watch the GOP debates, is because Trump's not in it.
They're not gonna get the record-breaking fucking views they got the last debates. 2016 was probably the hottest ones.
Yeah. Well, those were the ones I really enjoyed, because when he was roasting like the Republicans.
It was funny watching like the Republicans trying to make a serious argument, and then like the fucking the big fat orange with weird queefy wig hair white guy just being racist to everyone, and like whom is a racist, just being offensive to everyone. just attacking everyone and being a one-time prick, and it's just like, this guy is America. Stop him from getting into
Yeah.
power. America should not be in power, even in America. Stop him, but
Yeah.
this is America. Like, he looks like the stereotypical American businessman. Like, he just looks the part. Like, the kind of guy you see in the comic, like, in, like, comics and cartoons with the queefy fucking
Yeah.
hair. Well, it's a mullet he has, but it's a weird mullet. Um, oh, everyone's thanking. I didn't say it was about to end.
I don't remember anybody saying that the stream was about to end. I guess the audience seems to have made up their mind.
The people have spoken. Um, I just, I don't know. Is there anything else left to cover?
I mean, other than I think we've covered it all pretty much. Jordan is just being a reactionary piece of shit, and if he wanted to settle this like an actual comrade, he would have just called you and not done all this wiggle wobble nonsense. He's not going to be able to contact me now because I blocked him. So I'm just done with this shit.
Oh, we're not allowed that level of maturity in this situation. Okay,
So I
apparently
guess
Dark Synovia has deleted the original and the second one, but the rest is still up. Oh, I wonder if they've seen this video or some of it, part of it. They haven't commented at all. I'm confused. It came just as things were starting to get clear, and now things are no longer clear.
yeah. So why not just delete all the videos?
Because he has to let people know that he is now Cuxnovia. It doesn't even roll off the tongue.
Cuxanovia. Oh my god.
Cucks Unhinged.
He Cuxanovia. Well, if he's trying to make himself look like he's part of the dark side, he's like videos where it's like he's in the dark, really hell with like the hair all back and everything else. He's certainly getting the right look down at least for Dark Synovia.
Uh,
The literal dark Synovia.
Dark Side Novia.
Dark side.
Fucking gamer moment. Just like, she.
All right. Dark Synovia, if you're listening, I unblocked you, but that's only if you're willing to talk
Be mature about it, but I
and
don't
be
know.
an
Like,
adult.
the fact that it comes after I've had to make this stream, that things are starting to get deleted and stuff, doesn't make me very confident about any of this.
Yeah. And the fact that he was like pushed into doing this, despite the fact, like I said, nobody coerced me into doing it. It's like it's so painfully obvious. You literally said it in your video, straight up. And you wouldn't be doing all this like haphazard, like, oh, I've got to make like 12 response videos to this and everything else. Like, if you weren't um, being coerced, honestly, because that's the only thing I could think of. It's like I didn't see this video coming. Nobody did. It wasn't like this big alert or like, oh, I'm gonna let everybody know in my community.
And no one's saying you had a pre-written script either before you start yelling about that. It's that it sounded like you had a list of things that were concerns about, because they weren't fleshed out ideas. They were a haphazardous list of concerns, criticisms, or whatever you want to call them.
And I can tell when people are reading lists. Like when my boss is reading like a list of stuff specifically that's like that he's going through, like he's reading from like a script or something, I can tell. Even when I'm on the phone with him, it'll just be like, yep, yep, he's reading from it. Like even when he sends text messages, you can tell like, is this his handwriting or did he just copy paste this from somewhere? And I can tell like 9 times out of 11 that it is that he did it.
But it's just like the whole the whole angle is that you've made it now that you have a lot more to apologize for because there's toxicity and stuff, and it's just like, if you think I'm going to easily allow you back into my life as a comrade after all this, you're not as sharp as you used to be then. Because the Doxanovia of merely a month ago wouldn't be so fucking heinous.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't do this shit, especially to somebody that's going through very serious, like, emotional health issues. Like, and that he knows about. It's not like this is like a secret or something.
What's it? It's like fucking going at a freaking going at a minority in this way, aggressively mansplaining towards a woman that they know has extreme trauma from fucking aggressivity and gaslighting from men. Like, it's just like, you're not going about it in a way that is in any way gonna bring some cordial situation. Heck, we all have moments of anger where sometimes we shout when we shouldn't. But you made the video. You could have made it not be like that. It wasn't a stream, it was a video. So like, there was no need for it to be that anger, but rather than even thinking and pacing yourself and going about it, you had to run to someone else's defense in a situation where they weren't even the main concern. The main concern was what you did. I don't care whom it came from or what fucking ground it sprouted out of. I mean, I do in a sense, but in the baseline of it, I care about how you dictate your actions and how you figure out where you went wrong or where whomever else went wrong in this situation, rather than shielding it all.
Yeah. And the fact that like um we had to tell you like several different times and we had to even make a video for you to finally take the videos down does not bode well with me that you it doesn't show that you're serious about this, like honestly, because if you can be emotionally manipulated into making that video, like what else are you capable of, like what else are you gonna do, honestly?
This is bulwark.
And then he posted like a comment like, oh, I'm gonna disappear for a bit. No, it was I'm going away from YouTube for a few days. It's like you can't just make up fucking attacks on people and then just be like, oh, I'm gonna fuck off for a bit. I'm gonna. It reminds me a little bit. It's not the same thing one to one, but when Caleb when he got caught for the CPI as a sex cult scandal, and he just like straight up just like I'm deleting my Twitter and I'm gonna be in sex rehab for like a month or something. And that's not how sex rehabs work, but okay. Like honestly,
It's like they wouldn't have to be all like doomeristically going to take a break from YouTube if they just after the first video contacted me.
Yeah.
It's like shit. You don't want people to pity you, but then everything ends up centering around like a pity party. Because like I'm not someone that's gonna fold when I'm being taken out of context and treated like an asshole. Heck, not even taken out of context. There was no context. There was like no explanation of things, no teaching or educating. If you're gonna make a criticism that I am not involved in the dialogue in, where I can explain what I think about what the fuck you're saying, you need to educate. You need to actually start pulling shit up and not just going, "Oh, you are wrong about this," according to my black friend, and then moving on.
And then he literally contradicted himself in the entire video in the same fucking sentence where he said when he's talking about like trans people, like in some states it's illegal to be trans, and in other states it's legal to be trans. Oh, but there's no difference between the Democrat and Republican parties at all. I'm like, Jordan, you literally contradicted yourself. The states where it's legal to be trans are Democrat states.
No
I hate
one's
to break
even
that to
done.
you, but that's
Oh, sorry, go on.
yeah. It's like he doesn't seem to get the concept that the Democrats are social fascists and the Republicans are just straight up Hitlerite fascists.
Yeah, it's like no one's saying that fucking the Dems aren't fascists. Like literally, no one like in MRN was gonna be saying that. What a lot of us might be saying is maybe the ones that aren't saying ooga booga genocide might be the easier ones to organize a resistance against fascism if both parties are fascist. You have to get either one. Do you want the one that will kill you, or do you want the one that might not kill you? Um, I don't know. The one that might not kill me sounds a bit interesting because there is no argument saying, oh, but they're also still imperialists. They're not going to be worse imperialists than the other. Imperialism's imperialism. They both want to do the same thing abroad. Like capitalism starts to become quite indifferent when you look at colonial policy because liberal countries, fascist countries, they fucking rape, pillage, and massacre their way across other countries. The foreign policy is going to be arse regardless. Some of them are better than others, and you know what's interesting? Social fascists are the ones that usually try and act like they're better because they're pretending to be pacifists. They typically won't do a lot of this shit, it's lip service. But if they're making that lip service, guess what you can do to terrify them? Force them to stick to their word. Protest, riot, struggle, make it so that they have to double down on these practices or they have to show their fangs. Either way, they no longer get the veneer of we're not the bad guys. And it doesn't make people go, oh, right, opportunism is a good idea because they'll see these supposed lefties acting exactly like the right. It can push people more left. But we've got to be able to organize and criticize. As Stalin says, it is better for the social fascists to be in power because we can actually organize under the legalities they provide us. And it shows a weakness in the bourgeoisie. Why would you supplement that weakness with strength for the bourgeoisie? It doesn't make our fight against fascism easier. Actually, it does the opposite.
Yeah, because we're not having fascists, unite. Like we saw what happened when they got rid of the social fascists in 1934.
Yeah. Um, it's because of the competition that inherently exists between them. They do form an informal political bloc, but that informal political bloc is not. It's not stable because they have different competition points between each other and how they enact fascism, but they actively require their support, whether it's in part or in full. And yeah, I don't get the Mao comment either. I've like explicitly commented on his degeneration and pointed out the health conditions that were like part of that circumstance. I don't get that comment.
Yeah, the whole video just doesn't fucking make any. Like this is the I remember this is the response Dr. Weisfeld, he made a good. He basically said like there is no constructive criticism in this video at all. So, and I basically also I did a Lenin quote where I basically said there is criticism and then there is criticism, because Lenin's always good with like those kinds of like
Quips.
rolling on kind of like quips. And honestly, that's kind of like the point here is like there's criticisms and then there's this kind of crap. And this kind of crap, like you can call it criticism all you want. If it doesn't quack like a duck, act like a duck, it's not a duck.
It's a swan, guys. I read it in this book that talks about camping, I think. It's just like shit. I'm meant to have been quitting smoking because cancer. But I've been smoking more this weekend because it is a bit of an angry situation.
Yeah.
Noob mode said Dark Zenobia refuses to investigate, just speaks.
Oh my god.
Except the whole point of their video was that I should investigate before I speak. I still can't get over the fact that I confused Marcus Garvey with is that communist from the same era? Shit. Usually I remember his name way too well, and now I can't remember it at all. He's the guy who went to Britain and had to go to Britain for white stuff.
Paul Robeson?
Nah, Francis Fanon.
Francis Fanon.
Yeah, fucking.
I remember.
I love Francis Fanon. Fucking love reading his shit. Managed to get him confused with Garvey because my brain just decided to throw the wrong name into the field. ADHD though. Brr.
I think I remember calling him Francis Garvey.
I remember that. Yes.
Oh god.
Because I was getting so stressed about the confusion.
And that's so weird to take that kind of comment and hyperfixate on it. He's not a fascist, I'm telling you, he's not a fascist.
I read on the Wikipedia article.
I mean, the Wikipedia article literally says he's a fascist. I'm not even joking. For once, Wikipedia is not gaslighting us.
I mean, solid Maoists also know that he had flaws from the start as well. Flashy. It's like, I mean, that just ends up being sort of a problem with a lot of fucking communists.
I know, shocking. People have flaws. We're news at 11.
They also have walls. Oh shit, not those kind of flaws. It's like all of these things are just completely beyond me. My head's still hurting from all of the roundabout thinking I've had to be chopping through. I don't know how to deal with this kind of situation. I'm being told that I'm the egotistical one, but then I'm not even being like socially aspired towards to speak with. If we're to give into that like weird fucking Freudian shit, that would be you that's acting on the ego, not me. Actually, it'd be more, it, it's silly. It's silly, 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 silly. Because if this is all about egotisticality, why would me be saying that I want a fair capacity to engage in criticism and counter criticism if you aren't even going to contact me? That is what boggles
Yeah.
me more than anything. Oh God.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of bullshit. You can't just like make up slurs about people and just outright say a bunch of reactionary shit and then just like, not reply or you know, interact with them. Oh, but then you'll make a comment like, "Oh,